Hey builders, welcome to D&D Builds, where we have an outlet to build all sorts of ridiculous Dungeons & Dragons characters and stop driving the people in our lives insane with all of these ideas. Today we're going to be building the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog, or as he's sometimes known, Ogilvy Maurice Hedgehog. Yes, that's actually his given name. You can fact check me on it if you really want to. But before you fact check me, feel free to check out my Patreon linked in the description down below. And in the meantime, hit this video with sublikement. That's a subscribe, a like, and a comment. It really helps the channel. And I personally wish for the dice gods to grant my subscribers extra nat 20s in their next session. But now, back to Sonic the Hedgehog. We know he's fast and uses unarmed combat, unless you count his spinning ball and hitting with spikes. So you might be saying, oh, here we go, it's just gonna be a monk. And I would say, shut your face, that's way too simple. And if you know anything about my channel, you know I don't try and just keep it simple. No, we need a challenge. And I couldn't help but think of a particular song from Sonic Adventure 2, which mentions he's rolling around at the speed of sound. So I will accept that challenge, but first, how freaking fast is the speed of sound? Aw, That means with each round of combat being 6 seconds long, according to the player's handbook, we need to go for 6 times that speed per turn, with a movement speed of 6,522 feet of movement in a single turn. Alright, let's get to work. There's going to be a few straightforward things we'll need to pull this off. A few different classes give us speed boosts, and if we want to pull this off, we're going to need all of them. So when it comes to stats, we're definitely going to need to be well-rounded. But first, we need a race. Since there doesn't happen to be a hedgehog race, we're going to grab the fastest one we can, and it just so happens to be a tiny bit closer to being animal-like, being a tabaxi. Tabaxi allows you to double your movement speed for a turn with their feline agility. So we'll take this race and make the fur blue to fit a little closer. We're going to be building purely for speed, not for damage. So we need to be able to dip into pretty much any class. With that in mind, let's dive into some stats. Like I said, we'll need to be able to dive into pretty much any class, and in order to multi-class, you need at least 13 in any ability score that is fundamental to that class. So we're going to keep it simple and end up with 13 points in every single stat. We could dump Constitution, since that's the only stat not required for multi-classing in any class, but we don't want to lose all of our rings in a single hit. With that in mind, rather than diving right into Monk, which are usually the go-to for speed, we'll dive into Barbarian first. This will give us the highest starting health out of any class, and it will give us an opportunity for 2 boosts to our speed from this class alone. At level 3 in Barbarian, we're going to get our Primal Path, and we're going to take Totem Warrior. We'll go ahead and grab Totem of the Elk, boosting our movement speed by 15 feet, but only when we're raging. We'll also hit level 4, giving us a chance to grab a feat. And of course, we're going to grab the feat Mobile, giving you 10 more feet of movement, along with some other movement-based bonuses, but we only really care about the pure speed aspect. Then after that, we hit level 5, granting us the feature Fast Movement, which gives us another 10 feet of movement. It also gives us extra attack, but who cares about that when you're trying to break the sound barrier? And that's going to finish off the levels in this class. Now we're going to jump over to our next class. And if you guessed Monk, you're wrong. We're going Fighter. This will give us a fighting style, which we can take defense to protect ourselves a bit more considering we're unarmored. And then at second level, we get Action Surge. This will give us a whole nother action to dash with. Now we're finally going with some Monk levels, right? No, we're going Wizard. With 2 levels of Wizard, we get 2 crucial bonuses to our speed. We get access to the spell Long Strider, which gives us 10 more feet of movement, and it doesn't require concentration, so we can keep it active while raging. Then we can go ahead and grab the Arcane Tradition, Blade Singing. Go ahead and put on your favorite song from the Sonic games. Personally, I have trouble deciding between Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant, but maybe you're more of a casino night kind of person. Having your song active doesn't require concentration, and it gives you 10 additional feet of movement. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the Monk levels. We'll take the rest of our levels all the way up to 20 in Monk, and this will give us an additional 20 feet of movement. It also grants us unarmed attack, but who cares about that when you gotta go fast? But that's not all. When you hit level 20, with a nice DM, you can often get a boon. And there's a boon of speed. The boon of speed will allow you to boost your speed by an additional 30 feet. Now we've got some items. You've got 3 items you can attune to, and we're going to use all of them. Track down 2 artifacts of speed, adding a total of 20 more feet of movement. And then finally, Sonic does have some sweet running shoes, which we'll interpret as the boots of speed. So our base movement speed is 30 feet from our Tabaxi race, 10 from Barbarian fast movement, 15 while raging with Elk Totem, 10 from the mobile feat, 10 from our Blade Song, 10 from Long Strider, 20 from unarmored monk movement, 20 from our 2 artifacts of speed, and 30 from our boon of speed, bringing us to a total of 155 feet of base movement. Now you can double that with being a Tabaxi and using your feline agility, and you can double it again with your boots of speed. Now our movement speed is 620 feet. You can use this movement once as your standard movement, once with your dash action, once more if you dash with your action surge, and then one more time using your monk key points to dash again as a bonus action. This brings your total speed to 2,480 feet in a single turn. Closer, but we can do better. If we lose some levels in monk and put them into wizard, we lose 5 feet of movement speed from monk, but we get access to the spell haste. This will allow us to double our movement speed again, and we get a whole nother action to use for dashing. Only other major issue is that if we're concentrating on a spell, we can't use our rage, so we'll lose our extra 15 feet of movement from the Elk Totem, bringing our base movement speed to 135 feet. But our movement with haste active, along with our other multipliers, is 1,080 feet of movement. With being able to take 1 extra action on top of all of our other actions, we can now move 5,400 feet in a single turn. We're closer, but not quite at the speed of sound yet. What if we don't cast haste? You've got your best bud Tails to help you out. If Tails takes levels in Transmuter, he can give you a Transmuter Stone, and he can cast haste on you, so you can benefit from your Elk Totem Rage. So you can use the first build we talked about, and now your base speed with the Transmuter Stone is 165 feet. The multipliers from Tabaxi, Boots of Speed, and Haste bring that to 1,320 feet. And if you spend all of your normal movement, your action, your bonus action, your action surge, and your haste action to dash, your movement is 6,600 feet in a single turn. So you've officially gone faster than the speed of sound. But you may be wondering, hey, there's still time left in the video, what's the deal? I'll tell you what the deal is. I think we can do better. So chomp down on some chili dogs and let's dive in. Like any video game speedrunner knows, there's a bit of RNG to deal with, or simply put, luck. So if I take 1 level from Monk, we don't lose any speed, and we can use that level to finally use some of that 90s style charisma by taking 1 level of Sorcerer. And if we take the Sorcerer's Origin of Wild Magic, we have a shot at getting another action on our turn. In fact, if we're super lucky, we can roll a 1 or a 2 on the Wild Magic table, which allows us to repeatedly roll on the Wild Magic table, and then hopefully we can roll an 81 or an 82, which allows us to get a whole nother action immediately on that turn. So now we can take that last amount of speed that we had previously and add another 1,320 feet, bringing us to a massive 7,920 feet in a single turn. But we're not quite at true epic level Sonic yet. We're still at a inferior Sonic. We have to remember, Sonic has more friends than just Tails. He has a ton of friends. But f*** you, Big the Cat. I hate your damn fishing game with that janky ass camera. So frustrating. Anyway, if one of those friends is a scribe wizard, maybe they can hook you up with a spell scroll. Granted, Tails could also make a scroll, but it would be a lot more expensive. But if we get a spell scroll, it could possibly be of Shapechange. Since you have levels of wizard, you'll be able to use that spell scroll. However, there is a chance it will fail, since it is a 9th level spell, and it only works on the person casting it, unfortunately. So again, you'll have to concentrate on it, so you'll miss out on the Raging Elk speed. But what you'll get in return is so much better. Shapechange allows you to take the form of another creature without losing any features of your class, background, race, or anything. And there just so happens to be a creature in D&D that's tiny and blue and moves insanely fast, almost like it's made for being Sonic. It's a tiny fey creature called a Quickling, and it can move 120 feet as its base movement speed, making you the fastest you can possibly be as a playable character in D&D. So your base speed is now 120 feet being a quickling. You get an additional 10 feet from your Barbarian fast movement, 10 feet from your blade song, 20 feet from being a monk, 10 feet from long strider, 10 feet from your mobile feat, 20 feet from your 2 artifacts of speed, 30 feet from your boon of speed, and 10 from Tails' transmuter stone, bringing your base speed to 240 feet before any multipliers. So factoring in those multipliers, you can multiply by 2 for your Tabaxi race, which you can still access thanks to how Shapechange is worded, doubled again from Boots of Speed, and doubled one more time thanks to the haste from Tails, bringing your movement speed to 1,920 feet. And now all of our movements. We have our normal movement, our dashing movement, our action movement, our bonus action movement, our action surge movement, our haste action movement, and finally getting lucky with wild magic, getting one final action, meaning we can move 11,520 feet in a single turn. We came close to pulling off 2 times the speed of sound. And now I think we've finally made the fastest possible character we can in D&D, and a great embodiment of Sonic the Hedgehog. His attacks are pretty basic and he's really just known for his speed, so I think we pulled it off pretty well. That's going to be it for today's build. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and especially if you can find a faster build for a character. If you made it all the way to the end and you want to help me make more content like this, check out my Patreon linked in the description down below. And in the meantime, hit this video with a sub-like-ment. That's a subscribe, a like, and a comment. It really helps the channel. I have builds every single week. Thanks for watching, and I hope you roll at least 3 nat 20s in your next D&D session. Here's to moving fast.